tuning in with us tonight at ESBN Entrepreneurship and Small Business Network. I'm Nick Muller.
And I'm Ross Norcom. Today's topic is employment tax and how it affects small businesses. Some basic information you need to know is that a business owner has certain tax responsibilities like income tax, Social Security, and Medicare tax that they need to take care of for all employees.
That's right, Ross. And the employer is responsible for making any and all deposits regarding withholdings from their employees. Also, all employers need to register for an EIN, which is an employer identification number. They can do that with the IRS at irs.gov.
That's right, and an employer needs to be aware of the wages that are subject to federal taxes. That would include your bonuses, your vacation salaries, your commissions, and your fringe benefits. Certain supplemental wages are withheld differently, depending on how they're identified with regular wages, but that depends on more or less up to $1 million. There are many different exceptions and methods, and these can be found at irs.gov.
Going back to that EIN, you've got to make deposits regarding the withholdings from your employees. And so, you need to do that by electronic fund transfer with the electronic federal tax payment system. That's a mouthful, people. And you need to do it through the arrangement of a tax professional, through electronic draft as we discussed before, or through a payroll service. Also, when you register for your EIN, you're automatically pre-enrolled into that electronic federal tax system. So for further instructions on enrollment, they'll send that to you just for registering.
That's true. And some income tax withholding information is that employers need to keep an updated W-4 on hand for employees, which indicates the amount of withholding necessary for each individual. Now, employers turn the money over to the IRS along with other tax amounts.
And so this year, what's that? Everybody, we're going to a direct interview with business owners, Erin and Adam. Get ready for this. We're in for a big treat. Erin O'Conner. Erin, question.
Yeah, right here.
Got a question for you. All right, first of all, huge fan, and just your success this last year was awesome, and I've got a question for you. All the listeners are wondering, how did you become so successful? They're looking to start their own businesses, they're self-employed just like you are, and just tell them something that they can learn from you about employment tax.
Well, really, just stay informed. You want to cover your bases. You can do that really easily at the IRS website. That's really it, just staying up to date on everything that's going on.
Okay, you seem to have a wealth of knowledge on this subject, and you said you learned a lot about it from irs.gov, but what kind of exactly specific things did you learn about regarding employment tax?
Well, for the 2011 year, we're looking at a 13.3% regarding self-employment tax rate. 10.4% that's actually going to go to Social Security, the rest to Medicare. But again, it's all right there for everybody to find at the IRS website.
Okay. Also, our listeners are dying to know, are there any exceptions to the requirements regarding employment tax?
Sure. I mean, there's always going to be different scenarios, but it's important for really everybody to know. Even if you are receiving Social Security and Medicare, you're still just as responsible to be covering all your tax bases.
Great. Thanks so much, Erin. Like I said, big fan.
Adam, over here. Obviously you had problems with this year, with how you classified your workers. What exactly did you learn from all of that?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, it was a tough year. We started off pretty well at the beginning of the year, but then in the fourth quarter we really struggled to perform, and a lot of that had to do with how I classified workers. I thought it was a good idea to take all of my employees and classify them as independent contractors. That way I'd save a lot of money on employment taxes that I wouldn't have to pay. But come crunch time, the IRS really caught up to me in the fourth quarter and informed me that you can't do that. And come to find out, there's a lot of factors that go into how they determine if you're an employee or an independent contractor. They look at the relationships that I have with them, and that includes financial relationships and business relationships and behavioral relationships. They directed me to their website to fill out an SSA form, which is their way of, you fill the form out and then it tells you if they're a contractor or an employee. It turns out that we just didn't do a very good job on making those decisions early in the year, and it really cost us in the fourth quarter. And I don't really know what to say, but it's very disappointing, the results we've had.
Do you have any more questions?
No,
I'm speechless
I
after that.
have nothing.
Just drawing a blank.
Wow, Adam looked like he had a really rough year.
That's an understatement, and Erin seemed like she did amazing. What happened? You're about to find out. We're going to the tax breakdown room. Alright, here we are, about to calculate some Medicare tax. And just to let you know, 2.4% of those federal income taxes withheld go towards Medicare. Now, as an employer, you're trying to figure out how much to deduct from your employee's paycheck. This employee has earned $1,000. You take 1.2%, half of 2.4, multiply that by $1,000 for $12 that you owe as an employer. Your employee performs the same calculation and comes up with, you guessed it, $12 again, because that's how much they owe out of their paycheck. 1.2% plus 1.2% equals 2.4%, as mentioned before. And the grand total for the withholding is $24.
Now we're going to take a look at some Social Security tax. In the example we're going to give to you here, we're going to have the same amount of paycheck, $1,000, but the employee is going to have 4.2% of that withheld from their paycheck. So if you multiply that times 1,000, that's going to give you an even $42. Now, the other half of this is the employer's responsibility. He has to pay 6.2% of that same paycheck. If you multiply that times 1,000, you're going to get an even $62. Now, when you total those up, it's going to give you 104 even. And with the percentage, that'll total 10.4%. Our interviewee, Erin, did an excellent job of this, which was seen during her financial reports.
Wow, Ross, what a play. But if you want to see how to really add up your taxes, check this one out. We're back at Social Security, guys. And this time, our employee has earned $106,000 already. But in the current pay period, has earned $1,000. So just like before, we're going to do 4.2% times $1,000 for a total of $42. And then the part that the employer pays, 6.2%. times the $1,000, and then a total of $104, which is wrong. Man, Adam, no wonder you had a tough year.
Now we're going to take a look at the right way to do that.
Tell me about it, Ross. I get sick just thinking about the mistakes that Adam made last year.
So you have a $106,800 limit, and the employee has already earned $106,000 total for the year.
Which is way more than either you or I make in a year. Isn't that right, Ross? Well, let me tell you what. Count those zeros, kids. You won't be seeing that on a paycheck anytime soon. If you take the difference between those two numbers, you're going to end up with $800, which is the correct way of doing this. So then you take 4.2%, which is the amount that is withheld from the employee's paycheck, multiply it by the $800 that we calculated above, and you end up with $33.60.
Now the employer has the same responsibility but pays a little bit more. You take 6.2%, multiply that times 800, and this is going to give you $49.6 even. So with that total, you're going to add up your total dollars, which will give you 83.2 as your total. And that is how you correctly do the Social Security for the fourth quarter.
As they say, boom goes the dynamite. Back to the drawing board. Just here to calculate some federal unemployment tax. Isn't that right, Ross?
That's right, Nick.
So we all know that the federal unemployment tax rate is 6.2%. And as stated in the problem, we have a state unemployment tax rate of 6%. But there is a 5.4% ceiling regardless of what the state tax rate is. So we get the difference between that federal rate and the ceiling, and we get 0.8%.
That's some pretty interesting tax facts.
And some solid black numbers on the page. Wait, what? Where did that $7,000 come from? Oh, surprise, there's a $7,000 ceiling, and we get $56 on federal unemployment tax. That explains where that number came from. Hey-o, time to switch gears. Here we are at irs.gov. You heard it first from Erin, now I'm going to say it again. For all of your employment tax questions, this is the website that contains the answers.
Let's take a look at the inside numbers, keys to Erin's success. First of all, she was able to understand the FICA, which is the Medicare and Social Security. Then she was able to calculate federal unemployment tax, which is a big process for anyone who's running their own company. She was also able to tackle and maintain her self-employment tax, which is a very difficult responsibility for all employees.
She also knows where to pay her taxes using the electronic federal tax payment system online. She also knows when to pay those taxes. Is it bi-weekly or bi-monthly? It can be both. Classifying workers properly? She's got it.
Wow, that was some really great tax breakdown information.
Absolutely phenomenal, and with good-looking anchors.
That's right.
Well, thank you for tuning in with us tonight on ESPN Network. Good night, College Station.